So hi guys, what's up?
Hi.
Hey Mary, Queen of
How
Scots.
you doing?
Good.
That's what they call me on set.
How are you finding Comic-Con so far?
I really want to go hit the floor and find my favorite artists and comics. I went into this little glass bubble area back there, and I went out and I just kind of had a little mini freak out because I was like, I want to be down there and play games because this is kind of my jam. So I can't wait. Not that you're not all lovely, but I can't wait to be done and go buy some comics.
Do you realize if this show becomes successful, you come back every year and you do this? It's gonna
You'd be queen of Comic Con.
Yeah. Dude, giant teddy bear suit. Dressed as one of the gloomy bears, like the bloody claws. Great.
So tell us a bit about your character and what it was like playing a queen.
Well, Mary is about 16 years old. She's been living in a convent for a lot of her life to protect her, I suppose. She has a very strong sense of duty. She's very stubborn. She's a little naive. She sees the world in black and white. She's very set in her thoughts and how her life is going to be. She'll go to France. She will hopefully fall in love with Francis, marry him, and have a squillion children and live happily ever after. She is not particularly politically savvy. You know, it's the difference between book learning and then actual personal experience. So it's the difference between like reading out of an acting book and then performing in front of an audience. It's a completely different thing. And she's just sort of thrown into this horribly complicated political world where things are never as they seem. And she's a pretty upfront, honest character, and she has to learn to sort of wade this quagmire of deceit and deception very quickly before she and her ladies end up dead. Because it was a dangerous time, especially for women.
Do you see any parallels between all the nonsense that goes on in today's world and go, oh look, it's never changed really, it's just that they've got better soap and hygienic products nowadays?
Yeah. There are some similarities. The gender discrimination of the times is very interesting to play like that. Something I'm not used to. And sometimes I'll read something in a script and I'll go,
Are you serious?
Because we're reasonably enlightened these days, and while gender discrimination is still an issue and sexism is still a problem, it is nowhere near on the same scale that it was, where women were essentially considered property. They were like cattle. The only reason she has any autonomy or power is because she is a queen in her own right, and as of yet isn't beholden to a husband, has no father to order her what to do. But even in the French court, she's still subordinate to King Henry as a guest in his court. And when he says they get married, they got to get married. If he says the wedding isn't happening, it's not happening. If he tells her to go sit in a cottage out in the middle of nowhere, she probably has to do it. Even though she has a lot of power as a woman, she's still a woman and cannot meet a man on equal footing of the same rank as her, which is unfortunate. So that's an interesting parallel. Like some of the language that we use in the script I've heard in real life, and it hasn't occurred to me that it might have had sexist undertones. So that's really sort of, and I can be a pretty rabid feminist. So that just sort of made me look a little bit closer at gender relations in my life and how I've been spoken to or how I've been treated by male friends or exes, and it's sort of given me a bit more of an awareness of how lucky I am to be living in this day and age and to be entitled to equal wage and freedom of speech and my own opinion, and it's made that a lot more precious to me, I suppose. So.
Were you a quick study when it came to this character, or did you have an interest in history prior to the show?
I didn't really have much of an interest in history when I was younger. I liked ancient history and like mythology. I was more a bit of a myth nerd. I read a lot of fantasy and sci-fi books. But history never really captured my attention.
Okay.
As I've gotten older, it's been interesting me more, but as a teenager, I was not interested at all. And none of my friends were either. I know that history is a very big draw for a lot of people. It's nobody I knew for a while. So I made the mistake of speaking from my own experience in a previous interview, and I kind of got slammed on the web for it. And it's like, well, by saying that you and all of your friends love history, you were also speaking from your own personal experience. Hypocrite. But anyway,
Indiana Jones is more fun than...
No, you know what? History is amazing, but you cannot plot out the minutiae of historical life because there simply is not enough information to perfectly reconstruct a historical world.
Yeah.
There's not enough literature out there, and it's very difficult. And, NYCW. We're interested in making, compelling drama, having fun, having hot people fall in love with each other. And you've seen my boys, so it's very easy for me. And having fun. And I'm particularly less interested in being 110% historically accurate and more interested in getting my audience emotionally invested in what my character is going through and feeling things with me. That's my main goal, and the reason I became an actor is to connect with people on an emotional level and maybe help them understand themselves and their emotions a little bit better as well, because I really struggled as a teenager. I didn't know what I was feeling, why I was feeling, which is why I read a lot of books, because I just was not very social and not good with people, and I'm getting better. But yeah.
So all that being said, did you are stepping into sort of these, historical shoes, and, there are certain things that we know about Mary and certain things that we don't, as you said earlier. So, A, how did you go about doing your research for the role? And B, do you have any input sort of with the creators and the writers into what kind of character you want her to be, sort of like humanizing her?
I think that we all have really great communication with each other. If there are any lines I want changed or any scenes I feel particularly strongly about, the beauty of it is it's difficult. It's really difficult portraying like a historical figure, because on some level there's expectation that I adhere strictly to the literature about her, which I simply can't do. There's not enough. I can't reproduce her. I'm not her. It's not possible. So it's walking the fine line of doing the amount of research that I did on her. I took out books, I scoured the web, I read her letters, I did all of that. Because I wanted some insight into her as a woman and like some of her important traits. Like, she was very active and vivacious, and she was intelligent, impulsive and rash and stubborn. And a little bit arrogant in her later years. So that I'll definitely try to bring into the character, but it's melding that with the writers and with Laurie's vision of her, and then my own vision of her. And it's difficult, and I take it with a grain of salt. I'm not going to please everybody, and I'm aware of that. I'm just trying to bring forward the best and most relatable character I can, and I don't want her to be perfect. I want her to be flawed. I want her to make mistakes. I want her stubbornness to make the audience scream at her because she's being an idiot, or because she's being selfish, or because she has a moment of weakness, because everybody does. And I think that that's relatable. It makes her more interesting if she's a person and not, some paragon of virtue. That's boring. But you can be given, the most bland script in the world, which thank God we haven't had. We've had amazing scripts. But they've been very good about letting us do with the characters and with the scripts and with the dialogue what we will. So we've been taking some of it in interesting directions. It should be really interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing the future episodes, because we've done some fun, creative stuff, emotionally speaking. So yeah.
If you could be queen, what would you do?
If I could be queen for a day, there are a lot of things.
Keep
I would
it clean.
No, nothing like that.
Okay.
If I could be queen of the world, I'll do you one better. If I could be queen of the world for one day, I would abolish any gender discrimination across the board, including in places like female circumcision in Africa, and all of the terrible things that women have to go through in the Middle East. I would do that. I would legalize gay marriage across the board. I would promote environmental initiatives such as sustainable agriculture, organic non-GMO agriculture, the outlawing of pesticides and parabens and other harmful chemicals in our products. I would look for other ways to create not only sustainable farming but sustainable energy, and low impact, low carbon impact solutions for, say, driving, public transport, excellent public transport in every city in the world to reduce the amount of emissions created by automobiles. And I would probably implement a ton of wildlife parks and restructure a lot of cities to reduce the amount of urban sprawl that's impacting natural environments and natural habitats for endangered species.
It's like
You're hired.
Yeah.
It's going to be a busy day.
And everyone would hate me because I'd be looking to outlaw the use of oil within the next 50 years. To have everything run on sustainable power.
Super busy day. That's what I like it.
You just gotta get it started.
Yeah.
Start planning now.
Yes, well, a lot of people would be very angry because a lot of people make a lot of money and don't care because our lifespan is relatively so short that they don't think 1,000 years ahead. I mean, the Earth will survive. We'll just all die, and the Earth will renew. But I would like my children's children, to be able to go to a national park and see, you know, a deer. It's a natural habitat. I would like the salmon to still run in the wild, you know. It's just...
Come to Connecticut, I got deer in my yard all day. But anyway.
I hear deer are actually a pain in the ass.
Oh, they are, yeah. When you hit them in your car going 60 miles an hour,
Yeah.
Bambi's not so cute.
But it's like things like...
It is, yeah, my friends
It's
get
so
taken out.
frustrating. Like what they used to do, like introducing rabbits to Australia. Rabbits are gone, and they introduced foxes to kill the rabbits, and they just wreak havoc on the native flora and fauna. It's like cane toads. Cane toads were brought in to eat a specific kind of bug that preyed on the cane fields. Now the cane toads eat everything. They don't like their diet is much more varied than spay and neuter your pets, people.
Yeah.
Feral cats eat all the bugs and
my friends from Geelong, I was going to say when I was listening to you talk, I go, you sound like somebody who's from down under.
you know, human beings screw up a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah.
We asked Toby that same question about being royalty for the day, and he said he would want to be the first male to have a baby.
Yeah,
So
he
your
was going
answer
on.
was a little bit better. I'm just going to go there.
Yeah, I don't know if I phrased it right because there were a lot of things.
Yeah.
So feel free to like reword me so it makes sense.
But then Toby wanted to give birth to himself. He was getting all over the place. It started getting creepy.
Oh my gosh, she wanted, there was a comic book I read where there was like Amazons.
Yeah.
Amazons, when they reached a certain age, like cloned themselves and gave birth to like the next generation.
Sounds like
It was
Wonder
very
Woman.
interesting. Wonder Woman, yeah.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It was an Amazonian
You're
Wonder
asking
Woman.
the right
That's right.
Was it the original?
Well, the original's even weirder because the guy who created it was a psychiatrist who also created the lie detector, but he was all into bondage and he had a wife and a mistress, and this is all in the 40s. So he was writing all those books about Wonder Woman tying people up and stuff was a little bit weirder than you think.
True story, yeah.
No, because his daughter lives up the street from me in Connecticut.
Dude,
And,
a
yeah,
lot of
so
that
we hear
stuff
all
comes
that.
from a really weird place, but
Yeah.
God bless the world for kooks. Kooky people.
They're all out there.
All out of
convention.
When I'm not doing panels, I'm one of them.
Exactly.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adelaide.
Take care. Are you